Welcome to High Voltage. This morning we are discussing the State Council meeting, the very first of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration. It seems that a vote of complete, absolute confidence has been passed on the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. And this morning, to discuss this conversation with me, is Dr. Max Ngene Menkiti. He is senior lecturer of the Enugu State Science and Technology University in Enugu State. He is a public speaker of public significance and relationship. And this morning, he will help us analyze the State Executive Council meeting by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I don't know the essence of that, but at the time, it was as if there are external forces who are engineering to have a changing of government to trigger social unrest that led to the protests. Yes, times are difficult in our country, but we've never seen a thing like that. And that was why it is condemned. Because you do know that anything that tries to subvert government or to change government by force, a civilian government, a democratically elected government, is an aberration. It is never allowed. The penalty is usually very huge. So these are the issues. But for former leaders of our country, even though some members of that ESCO were not in attendance, notably Ibrahim Babangida or Obasanjo were not there, for them to sit down rather than discuss issues of concern to Nigerians, rather than discuss how a Tinubu government will begin to work to ensure that livelihoods are better, to ensure that fuel crisis is abated, to ensure that there's employability for fresh graduates, to ensure that there's food on the table, 3 square meals for Nigerians, given the plethora of natural and human resources we have. They were there passing a vote of no confidence. It raises a lot of question marks, because the thinking now is, why are some of these leaders who were in attendance talking about a vote of confidence to a government that is in crisis? Is it because of the perks that will fall from the table of the sitting president? Does it mean that these people are so gluttonous and greedy, or that they do not fear or respect public opinion? What is the problem? What has Tinubu done to warrant a vote of confidence? Will the vote of confidence of members of the Federal Executive Council supersede the vote of the prevalent opinion of the people?
Doc, I have a question for you. One would consider that the caliber of men who are in attendance of this meeting, this is including ex-presidents, both civilian presidents and military ex-presidents and rulers of this country. I'm talking ex-governors, present sitting governors, Senate presidents, senators. So I'm thinking that they are not poor men, nor broke men, nor powerless men, to say that they are so helpless in such a way that they cannot say, okay, we disagree with some of these, or we advise some of this. Is it such a helpless situation that it is glutton and greed? I want you to explain this part to us, considering the caliber of men in attendance.
The vote of confidence is shocking. The truth is that it did not truly represent a unified stance among Nigerians' leadership. Leadership is at different strata, at local government level, at state government level, at the federal government level. Why this is sad is that there are ex-civilian presidents who are supposed to be in attendance. All military rulers of Nigeria that are alive are supposed to be members of that. That was why in that meeting there was Abdulsalam Abubakar, for instance. But there wasn't the presence of Babangida, for instance, the presence of Olusegun Obasanjo, who you do know have been making very scathing remarks about leadership in our country. Those that have led, in terms of saying that even people who are in the National Assembly, that they fix their salaries themselves without going through the wages and salaries and emoluments. There's this commission.
Been in the news,
you know, so
speaking.
Yes. So, but the point is that we had expected these people to begin to talk about our economic woes. How can we come out of the doldrum? Because Nigeria's economy is in shambles with rising inflation, a depreciating currency, and stagnant growth. The government policies have failed. Tinubu's policies have failed to address these issues, and the vote of confidence does nothing to change this reality. Look at the fuel subsidy issue. Nobody knows if fuel subsidy has been truly withdrawn, whether government is still subsidizing, and why Tinubu would immediately he was taking his oath of office, removed his fuel subsidy without making provisions of how to cushion the effects of the harsh consequence of such a policy.
Did you know about some of the promises that were made? Said that they haven't seen any trucks of rice. The 50 kg of rice that was supposed to be sold to civil servants for 40,000 naira. The ministries, took it off and said they will explain further in the future. So, looking at such, are we so comfortable that this vote of confidence was passed on the government?
No,
maybe there's a part we do not understand.
No. The point is that in today's program, we have made the point that the vote of confidence was in bad taste. Is it because you've been privileged to be a former leader and now you come and so pretend in meetings, you come and discuss and they give you largesse and you go home with it without even thinking of how Nigerians are feeling? People can no longer eat staple food. The cassava is a no-go area. Gary, don't talk about it. To buy a corn for a civil servant, at times they just look at it and continue to their journey. Things are so bad that these leaders should be able to make sacrifices. Those that have been enjoying pensions, because we do know that most of them took their pensions while on the seat of power.
That can happen.
It does happen. It's true. We know that some of them pretended over security votes at the time when Nigeria was not in war, at the time when Nigeria was not having any reason to, budget so much money for maintenance of security. These people are so rich that they have invested in different parts of the world, yet they are drawing their pension, they are working as if it is business as usual. Because you see, the problem is not about making promises. The problem is about redeeming promises that were made. In our country, this current government and successive governments had failed to diversify the economy, is to reduce Nigeria's dependence on oil exports. We were talking about agriculture, which is true that agriculture can be a very huge, earner of resources. But then you can see also that the headers-farmers clashes have been a major, problem, because people who used to be farmers are afraid of going to the farm because they could be killed. The children have been killed. Sometimes their wives are raped and killed by marauding herdsmen. I don't want to use certain nomenclature so that nobody says you've done this. However, the truth must be said, because the truth is bitter, but it must be spoken. You see, in our country, inaction on corruption is also a problem. The government anti-corruption efforts have been criticized because it is ineffective. With high-profile cases gone stagnant, nothing is done. If you're fighting a war, you're fighting a war against corruption, there's a need for people to begin to see bruises on the body of those that have been hit by
it seems
such,
we have not people to deliver consequence or perhaps hold people accountable or responsible for their actions.
They have been holding, but again, you see, there's a disconnect between the people and those in leadership positions, whether they are appointive or elected. Because you see, every day you read the newspapers, you listen to radio, you watch television, you will hear cases of arrests that were made by EFCC. How stolen money has been recovered. Have you forgotten the money that was recovered from Ikoyi? Euros, pounds, dollars? What have become of it? How come Nigerians don't get feedback from government regarding what have been done? How come? Does it mean that people who are asked to recover go on to steal again? That's the
someone's case files, an ex-governor of Kano who has been in the news for corruption charges. It turns out his case files were also taken by bandits during the Edbad governance protests. So we have stories like this. They said they carted away, somebody's case files during the.
That could happen. That could happen because in a crisis, you can be sure that all manner of things could happen. We also saw trending where security agents were cutting away, goods for their own family, because we're all in this together. Injury to one is injury to all. Yeah, a lot of people are hungry. So the point is that because of the unpatriotic acts of our leaders, there are followers who are very unpatriotic, followers who are very selfish, leaders who believe in a primitive accumulation of wealth, who believe in self rather than delivering service for the greater good of the people. That had been the problem. Look at the issue of security concerns. How can these people be so unpatriotic as to go and begin to talk about a vote of confidence for a Tinubu-led government that Nigerians are not happy on how it emerged? Nigerians believe that Tinubu, for instance, is too old to be president. Look at what's happening in America, for instance. Look at how even Biden, a sitting president, had to withdraw from the race.
Have you ever seen such a situation? Have you ever seen anybody withdraw from office in this country?
No way. The recent stories we had was a Milocon story. It is my turn, it is my turn. And that is why those who are supposed to sympathize with the current government, to help them with ideas, to help them with how to come out of the mess they have found themselves in, have isolated themselves. And even the opposition political party, I'm not sure they're doing enough. That because the beauty of democracy is the opposition. It has to do with these NGOs, some of these advocacy groups, the media, etc. All this, the media people are working very hard, but I don't know whether those who are being spoken to, whether they have the ear to hear.
All right, I am talking to Dr. Max Ngene. He is a lot. When we come back, we will do a better introduction so that you get to know him, and of course, join the conversation, because when we come back, we will open up the phone lines. This is High Voltage, Volt 104.3 FM. We will be on a short commercial. We will be back soon. His very administration. And of course, talking with me on that very topic is Dr. Maxwell Menkiti Ngene. He is Senior Lecturer of the Department of Mass Communication of the University of Enugu State of Science and Technology. He is a speaker on issues of public significance and relationships. Right, he is a writer and a former national trade union leader. That is why we have brought him to share his wisdom and knowledge with us this morning on the topic of the Federal Executive Council meeting. And on that, the attendees of this meeting had passed a vote of confidence on the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And we want to know if that vote is in accordance with the views and wishes of Nigerians, considering the situation and the practical reality of the country at the moment. Join the conversation, drop your contributions, comments, and perhaps questions. You know what to do. 0706 0485853. Good morning to you. You are welcome. Good morning. Oh, you are welcome, Chika. Please, where are you calling from? You are welcome, Chika. Nice to hear from you this morning. Please. Good morning to you too, Chika. Have a nice day. Mr. Charles is doing very well as well. Thank you. Nice talking to you, Chika. All right. Chika is an ardent listener of all of our programs here on Volt 104.3. But again, you can be a part of the conversation. We are talking Federal Executive Council meeting happened on the 13th day of August. That is on Tuesday at the Aso Villa, where very top members of the society gathered to discuss the affairs of the country. Good morning. Welcome. Name and location, please. You are welcome, sir.
I greet you when Muhammadu.
Sir? Yes.
Nigerians are out with passing a vote of confidence in the Tinubu-led administration. However, the vote of confidence in itself is a futile exercise. Why is it a futile exercise? It failed to address where they were protesting, destroying government property, destroying properties that belong to individual Nigerians, causing more economic woes and havoc, which shows that there's an underlying problem which the government should fix, because the essence of government is to ensure that the well-being and security of the people are ensured. But that's not the case. The only thing I want to say now...
It sounds like an oblivion, because it seems the body language of the elites, it sounds like we don't necessarily have a problem, because I think people can only solve a problem when there is an understanding, a presence that there's a problem exists. I know. But if it doesn't sound like...
Well, but there's also the luck we have. The luck we have is that there are some former presidents who were supposed to be in that meeting that were not in attendance. And that is talking about the absence of President Obasanjo, former President IBB, Babangida.
Do you think their presence would have made a difference in the outcome of the meeting?
Maybe, because their absence raises questions about the votes of confidence legitimacy.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
And highlights a deep-seated, division within the leadership. There's a division because there's no reason why someone like Obasanjo should not be in attendance, for instance.
Not attending is some sort of statement?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. I think so. Because the true leadership requires more than empty votes. True leadership demands concrete actions and effective solutions. And that is what Nigerians are asking for. Because there are demands. We were talking about demands that were made on the government regarding stopping the protests. You understand? Like the rice issue we talked about, which we have not discussed. Yes. And where state governors are saying, I have to rice. We've not seen any rice. If indeed the rice has come, we are not doing anything with it. We'll give it to you. Okay. Civil servants, public servants are waiting to see rice they will buy at 40,000 naira.
That's right.
Because we just bought one at 80,000 naira.
You did.
Because you must eat. All the education, all the effort people make is to ensure that they feed and take care of their children, pay school fees, make sure that when there's a health challenge, you have the resources to, do what you should do. So the problem, like I tried to say earlier, is this problem of making promises that government have no intention of fulfilling. And that has been a major problem. That is why there's a disconnect between the people and those that lead them. Because most times those who emerge are not necessarily those that won the election. You understand? Because before this election, it was trending where President Tinubu was asking his fans, his supporters, whatever it takes, make sure we take this presidency. Run with it. Grab it. Take it. And that is not the kind of statement that should be coming from the mouth of an elderly statesman.
Did you hear about the proposed bill to hold people to certain consequences when they do not recite the national anthem?
People who are hungry. That is those things are diversionary. Those things are diversionary.
So?
Such bill will fail.
Why would you think it will be proposed in the first place?
How many people are literate? What do you do with those who are not literate? It's not just you don't treat human beings that way. Okay. It's a sensitive issue.
What would have been the advantage and disadvantage of that particular bill if it had, happened to pass a second reading?
I am sure that majority of those at the National Assembly are aware of the critical situation in the country, of the the way Nigerians are thinking. Nigerians are sad. Nigerians are very angry because life is no longer worth living in our country. A situation where you see even underage boys and girls joining the protest in places where there was protest, to say the least, is not something we had ever envisaged. To that extent, the National Assembly people are expected to begin to make better laws. Laws meant to ameliorate the severe economic situations Nigerians are facing. The kind of laws that can hold them and other Nigerians account. Nigerians want to be sure about the honesty of those in leadership position, because you cannot tell people, for instance, to cut down on their own spending, don't be wasteful, but they see governments at different levels being wasteful. You understand? And something very significant happened in Enugu yesterday within the rank of the People's Democratic Party. And it's very important that we say so. A major problem with government in our country has been that most political parties do not have internal democracy where they allow discussions, negotiations, compromise to emerge. A situation where leaders are handpicked for reasons that are not justifiable, for very pedantic reasons, a situation where at times you see people who do not even belong to the party, but they are brought from somewhere and hoisted on the other people who had served the party in various levels. We saw a situation where there was some measure of internal mechanism where those who are going to vie for the upcoming local government elections have just emerged. And you see people circle around them, raising hands, trying to show that there's been some measure of fairness in determining who becomes. This is extremely important because nobody can sweep your house better than you do. If you have somebody who you do know because of the person's background, the person's character, integrity, and the person finally emerges, if the person goes to the House of Assembly, the local government council, and becomes a different person from the person we know, then there's every likelihood that the people knows how to go and get him and say, this is not why we voted for you. Okay. This is not what you promised us. We knew who you were before. How come you are this way? And stuff like that. But when government bring people that they think are loyal to them, they think we do their bidding, there's a disconnect, and most times those people don't improve the council. They just
so what is the point if the people cannot control who it is that comes to speak for them or to represent them?
That's what I'm saying. It's wrong. But you will also know that a major problem had always been the apathy, the apathetic nature of the Nigerian person. Obasanjo, Kenkem, like most businessmen talk that way.
But here it is, basaying all of us.
Yes, because you see,
we have a problem.
Yeah.
One would expect that after Tuesday, we would see snippets of decisions and policies that were being made and actual conversations being had. But, President Goodluck, ex-president Goodluck Jonathan, said that we needed more churches to join in speaking up politically. And Nigerians were going agog on the social media asking why he would make such a statement. So you would expect that...
I was expecting him to talk about insecurity.
Yeah, you would expect
which is a major challenge.
The key
I was expecting him to talk about terrorist attacks. And we expected him to talk about this issue of banditry and kidnapping. Right. We expected government's response to be adequate, but in the present case is inadequate. It doesn't address the key issues that have led to the protest. Most Nigerians are going back to the villages, and some of them who are going back to the villages are not going back to the hinterland because they want to go. It is because of the rising cost of things, their inability to pay rent, because most cases those who live in houses have been thrown out by landlords, and the crisis deepens more and more. We had expected them to tell us what they've done to address the issue of Boko Haram. I had expected them to tell us, what they are doing in terms of the protests and demonstrations. because they do know that it just subsided. It doesn't mean it has stopped. That's the kind of thing. I had expected them to say, we are asking these leaders to begin to engage stakeholders, organizers of the protest, talk Nigerian students leaders. Even as we are talking, most schools in Nigeria are talking about increasing school fees.
It is a looming conversation. Political and business ventures. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to High Voltage.